Most of us think we have a pretty good handle on what our world looks like. We see the map, we think of it as a finished product, right? A static stage where all of human history just happens. But what if that's totally wrong? What if the planet we're on is less like a stage and more like a giant, unbelievably complex machine that's still being put together?
Really think about that for a second. Imagine a system with its own rules, its own crazy power sources, and massive parts that are constantly shifting and changing. We're talking about a living machine whose blueprint is being rewritten every single day by forces we're only just starting to wrap our heads around.
Because that's the thing, when you start to look really closely, you see them. Oddities. Things that just don't add up. Places and events that don't seem to play by the rules we thought we knew. These aren't just curiosities. These are glitches in the system. And they tell us something absolutely incredible about the world we actually live in.
Okay, so our first stop has to be the map itself, our main tool for trying to understand this whole planet. But here's the kicker. It is filled with distortions, with secrets, and with things that are straight up impossible. They really challenge how we see everything.
So, get this. This place, according to geology, just shouldn't exist. To get water this hot, you need a volcano nearby, right? But the closest one is 400 miles away. And yet there it is, the Shanai Tempishka, a river that flows for 4 miles, hot enough to literally cook any animal that falls in. It is a true glitch in the geological code.
And sometimes the glitches aren't some weird little river. Sometimes they're entire continents. Say hello to Zealandia. It's been officially recognized as Earth's 8th continent, but I bet you've never seen it on a map. Why? Because 94% of it is sunk beneath the Pacific Ocean, a massive ghost continent hiding right under our noses.
This is a perfect example of how our most basic tools for seeing the world are actually lying to us. We all grew up with this map, the Mercator projection, and it makes Greenland look enormous, about the same size as Africa. But in reality, you could fit Greenland inside of Africa 14 times. Our perception of the world is literally warped from the get-go.
All right, let's talk about scale for a second. Just look at that number. Over 10,000 meters. That's one of the deepest points on the entire planet, a place of absolutely crushing pressure and total darkness tucked away off the coast of the Philippines. It's a staggering number, but what does it really mean?
Well, it means you could take Mount Everest, the highest point on Earth, flip it upside down and just drop it into this trench, and it would vanish completely. And you'd still have almost 2 kilometers of water above its peak. The highest highs of our planet are just dwarfed by its hidden, crushing lows.
So you see, these glitches aren't just mistakes on a map or weird perceptions. They are real, physical things that are happening right now. This machine isn't just sitting there, it is actively re-engineering itself. Let's take a look at how this planet is literally tearing itself apart and rebuilding.
Right now, as you're watching this, the East African Rift is pulling that continent apart, bit by bit, slowly giving birth to a brand new ocean. The tectonic plates are shoving Mount Everest 4 millimeters higher into the sky. And Iceland, which sits on a massive volcanic ridge, is literally being torn in two, getting about an inch wider every single year. The world map you learned in school? Yeah, it's already out of date. It's just a snapshot in time. Okay, so if the Earth is a machine, it's got to have an operating system, right? A fundamental set of rules that it follows. But what if that code, the actual laws of physics, is way, way stranger and more complex than anything we actually experience in our day-to-day lives? This is so cool. The speed of light isn't just a number, it's a time machine. Because light takes time to get from one place to another, looking at things far away in space means you're seeing them as they were in the past. When you look up at the Andromeda Galaxy, you're seeing light that is 2 million years old. The entire universe is a living museum of its own past. And the machine's design, it might be way more complex than we can even see. Some physicists think there might be extra dimensions of space all around us, just curled up so tiny that we can't perceive them. The best analogy is a garden hose. From far away, it looks like a simple 1D line. But when you get up close, you realize it has a second, circular dimension. Our reality could have this whole hidden layer of complexity we are completely oblivious to. And then, every once in a while, the machine spits out a result that it makes no sense. Something so improbable it seems to fly in the face of logic, of chance, of all the rules we thought we knew. These are what you might call ghosts in the machine. Check this out. In 1898, a novelist writes a book about a ship called the Titan. It's the biggest ship ever built, totally unsinkable. In the story, it hits an iceberg in the North Atlantic on a cold April night and sinks, with a huge loss of life because they didn't have enough lifeboats. 14 years later, the RMS Titanic does the exact same thing. It's terrifyingly identical.
Or how about the story of the Jim twins? This is just wild. They were identical twins, separated at 4 weeks old, raised by different families, with no idea the other existed. They meet for the first time when they're 39, and the coincidences are just staggering. Both had a son named James, both married a woman named Linda, divorced her, and then remarried a woman named Betty. They had the same childhood dog named Toy, drove the same car, and vacationed at the exact same beach in Florida. So, what is that? Genetics? A 1 in a billion fluke? Or something else entirely?
So here we are, on a planet that glitches, rebuilds itself, and runs on rules that we can barely even comprehend. It kind of begs the question, where do we fit into all of this? Well, we're the witnesses. We're the only species we know of that can actually sit back and watch the machine in action. And it turns out, our own patterns on this planet are just as wild and extreme. I mean, just look at how we've spread ourselves out across the globe. Almost 90%, 90, of all human beings live in the Northern Hemisphere. Now, that's not really a choice or a coincidence. It's a pattern that's dictated by the machine's own layout, the geography, the climate, the resources. We organize ourselves based on the planet's design.
And look at the insane scale of our attempts to control this machine. In China, there's a single dairy farm that covers 22.5 million acres. To put that in perspective, that is larger than the entire country of Ireland. It's basically an agricultural city, an attempt to industrialize nature on a scale that is just mind-boggling.
And yet, for all our gigantic projects, you have this. Monowi, Nebraska. Population 1. A single resident, Elsie Eiler. She is the town's mayor, she runs the library, and she serves drinks at the local tavern. So we go from a farm, bigger than a whole country, to a town of 1. We really do live in a world of absolutely staggering extremes.
So here's the main takeaway for me. We always say that technology is making the world smaller, but that's not really right, is it? The world is just as huge, just as complex, and just as mysterious as it has always been. What's changing is our ability to finally see it, to measure the glitches, and to witness its construction happening in real time.
And that brings us to the biggest question of all. If we are living inside this dynamic, evolving machine, one that tears continents apart, hides worlds under its oceans, and runs on a code that can literally bend time, what's it all for? What is it building?